Okay, I'm going to call the January 2024 meeting of the HPC to order, and want to welcome everybody who's come to hear us, to talk to us, whatever. And I encourage you to read the statement at the bottom of the agenda, which I hope everybody picked up. And it is a great statement about what we're about, and we're glad you're here. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. New business, the first action item is the request of Whirlwind Johnson LLC to replace the roof and porch ceiling at 1422 Pierce Street. And is there someone here to speak to that? If you come forward.
So I am the granddaughter of Dr. Robert Walter Johnson and president of the Whirlwind Johnson Foundation, and we are seeking approval to use a synthetic slate to restore the roof on his house.
First, tell us your name.
Jolynn.
And then tell us who's with you.
And this is Alyssa Bosbacher. She was with LG Flint. They are the contracting company that we will be using to do the renovation.
Okay, thank you. All right.
So, you know, my grandfather's home has been vacant for quite a number of years, had been inhabited by a woman that worked for him, and obviously not a lot of renovations, if any, were done to the home. So we received a grant from the National Trust for the historic preservation of $100,000, and we would like to, you know, begin work. It was a process to identify a contract company to do this, but that has been since resolved, and, you know, we just would like to consider this as an alternative because of the cost of using regular slate for the home, and you know, just to kind of move things forward so we can start at that level and then move to other parts of the house. And Alyssa can speak to, she brought a sample of the slate with her.
Do you guys want to see it?
Sure.
So this is the synthetic slate, and this piece is actually what's on the roof right now.
Is that 16 1/4 slate that's existing or 14?
I thought it was 14 online.
Okay.
And I've been told that this specific Da Vinci slate has been approved for other historic homes. And 22 Court Street was one of the addresses.
And how about the porch ceiling? Do you want to speak to that?
Yes,
before?
I think in the past, plaster was used to, you know, take care of that, but we are asking to be able to use,
Exterior gypsum board, like a drywall instead, just less maintenance, easier to put up and take care of. And it can be painted the same color as the ceiling right now.
and mainly, I guess I just want to make the point that $100,000 does not go very far. And we will not get the final disbursement of $50,000 until this project has been completed. And actually, we're going to do as much as we can with the limited funds, but I've been given a $100,000 donation by a former player there. So we're going to use what she gave us to kind of get these initial things done, because half the money that we've received has gone to, you know, an architect to help us get the plans together. So, you know, if we can get that roof done and some of the exterior of the house that is really decayed and the porch, that would be a huge plus for us.
All righty, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, do you have any comments?
Well,
since
I'm
this is-
curious, I was going to ask, but you touched on it yourself at the end. There's several pictures of the exterior, not just the roof, but the request only addresses the roof and the porches. Are you doing gutters? Are you doing soffits? Are you doing siding? What's in scope that you're here to request?
I mean, we're going to do the gutters, but what's in scope is mainly the roof and the decay around the rear of the house, and also that porch area, the roof, the overhang of the porch, because that's, you know, decayed. If you go stand on the porch, up under there has been a lot of, you know, falling pieces. So, yeah, no, we're going to do that. But again, you know, we're going to have to raise more money to be able to do the full exterior, because like I said, you know, a lot of our expense has gone to paying an architect, and also having, you know, asbestos and lead assessments and things like that, which are going to have to be, would have needed to be done anyway. So we've gotten that out of the way. We know what we're dealing with as far as that's concerned. Limited asbestos, but all of the paint in there is lead paint.
Yep.
So,
Work through it, just make sure it's clear, it's on this part right here, under the underneath.
yes,
underneath.
yes,
So this- all this other work is not to come later. right?
Yes.
All this to that.
yeah.
Yeah, we're looking to just start the exterior restoration to help prevent further, extensive damage, but there's still gonna be a lot more work to do after these few repairs.
But you're not at this time doing any guttering?
We will, but the gutters have already been approved for, half round, I believe, in
Okay.
a previous meeting.
They've received a number of approvals prior to this.
Okay.
This is kind of an add-on. At this time, they're requesting the roof and the porch ceiling, but they had extensive work approved, either administratively, or I think they came before the commission recently, but, mhm.
And then just so you're aware, I do have an email from my representative from the National Trust that they approved the synthetic slate, but of course, we had to get your approval. So I'm happy to share that with you as well.
We understand the cost of, of the real stuff, so no problem there.
Is it a total replacement? Was there any slate that's salvageable, or is it the
I
whole
don't-
roof that needs to be
All or
done?
nothing.
Okay,
You know,
I
it's
wasn't
a
sure if it was like
100-year-old
patching.
house, So
Sure.
I would probably feel more comfortable knowing that we've done, you know, a completely new roof. The other thing is, from all of the assessments by the architect and others, you know, involved with the house, they seem, and LG Flint, they seem to feel like the house is in pretty good shape, which is remarkable. Not a lot of roof damage on the inside up in the attic. So, I mean, we've dodged some bullets here, and I just am happy, you know, that what we can do is, you know, get that part started.
Okay.
Other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
All righty.
I drove by the house, I noticed there's only several pieces of slate missing. You prefer to replace it regardless of repairing it then, I'm assuming?
Our roofer mentioned that you can't, this is Amherst slate, and you can't get it exactly anymore anyway. So either way, we wouldn't be going back with the exact same slate that's on the house.
And my other question is, I know we have an architect on the commission here. I'd like to find out what his thought is about just using painted drywall for the porch as opposed to a composite material. You know,
exterior material.
It's
so it-
exterior, yeah.
Yeah.
painted.
Mhm.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion?
Well, I guess
Okay.
my only comment, maybe it's piggybacking on him, to hear your comment, there wasn't a lot of roof damage inside, so I'm curious why you want to invest in putting a new one on. If I hear you, there's not leaks, there's not issues that you're correcting?
Well, some of the slate has cracked and broke, has fallen on the ground. So there are places where, there is missing slate. And I understand that the National Trust and others like to be able to preserve as much as we can. But I also, would love, the cost of the roof is not as significant as previously assessed. I had gotten quotes for $145,000 to
Sure,
do this,
for new
but
slate,
what we were able, if we use the synthetic, it's only gonna cost us 46. So.
I understand, and I'm not trying to tell you how to spend your money. I have a slate roof myself and a synthetic slate on a separate building. I think it would be, at least in my case, it was cheaper to repair the cracked slate that's existing rather than peel it all off and put on a whole new synthetic slate.
And again, I think what Alyssa was alluding to is that we cannot get the same slate.
I don't know the extent of your damage. It sounds like there's not a lot if you're not getting a lot of water. I know you can find some. You might not find enough to do a whole roof.
I don't
other
know.
slates could be used too. It doesn't have to be exact match
There's
for match.
Buckingham and, right.
But-
Yeah, you're right. We're here to encourage you to repair or keep what's original. I didn't know how much you had pursued that, or, again, it's your money you're spending, but I think it might be,
Well,
she's the builder.
again, and I think I have to rely on the experts that go up on the roof. I've not been on it. My expertise is really to rely on what, I've had 3 separate roofers go up. I've also had Flint and their representatives, inspected and go up there. And then I've had others just give me quotes that I don't think ever went up on that roof. And that's,
But you're not getting water, if I hear you, right?
Again, I haven't been in there. Your group said that the inside was in fairly good shape. I don't know that we've had any gushing overflows of water, but
I just don't get a lot of requests to replace a fairly good shape slate roof.
Our roofers told us that it's not worth trying to repair this roof. So they said that because originally, so she had an architect put together a whole, scope of work. And a part of the bid was just replace and 30% of the roof and repair it. And then the second option was full replacement. And we had our roofers, 2 of them, say that they can't repair it. They can't patch it in. It has to be fully replaced.
So the damage is so extensive that they can't repair it.
That's what our roofers
Okay,
said, yes.
gotcha,
But
okay.
That's where I'm struggling, because
Yeah,
if water's not coming in, I only know the roofs I've had, when they leak, you repair them when they,
Okay, we have a motion to approve the application in a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Good luck. The next item is the request of Lynn, is it Scoggins or Scoggins, to do extensive work at 713 Pearl Street, a house with which we're very familiar. Welcome, Mr. Scoggins.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be here. So by way of quick introduction, my name is Lynn Scoggins. I was a resident of Lynchburg and Forest, Virginia for about 21 years until early 2023 when, to help care for my mother and get closer to family, I relocated to the Oklahoma City metro area, which is where I now reside full-time. Or my primary residence is in the Oklahoma City area. I purchased 713 Pearl at the beginning of November. I guess the closing, well, yeah, the closing was November 2nd, scheduled for a little earlier, but we were delayed. Right before the closing, but too close to the closing to really slow a lot of it down, or it was not. I didn't want to stop the sale, but I was made aware of the challenges with some of the work that was completed without approval of this group. So my primary intent today is to present a plan that will bring the property into compliance. And that's really the majority of the items that I'm requesting here. There is also some fencing to at the rear of the property. There is I think was probably previously a garage structure, a parking structure. So there's a drop off, if you're familiar with the property, that I'd like to put a fence or just some railing. It's not really a fence, but a simple railing back there.
So shall we go one by one? That makes the most sense to me. All right, well, let's start with the first item. Which?
So I don't know sorry, I'm not sure what the protocol is here.
Yeah, if you would if we go item by item and you explain what it is that you are requesting to do.
All right,
Okay.
so the first issue, of course, are the windows. They were not replaced with the appropriate material or the appropriate style. So this is a proposal to replace the windows with a wood-clad window with simulated SDL, so to provide the look of the 2/2 window in the original size. So the second level of the home has 72-inch tall windows, and the lower level, the first level, has 76. So there are 5 windows to replace on the first floor, 10 to replace on the second.
Okay. Are there comments, questions about that? Jerry, do you have something that
Putting
you?
back the original size windows and the original look of the windows, backfilling in what was taking out the infill that he put in and the metal, black metal flashing, and it sounds exactly what needs to be done for these windows, so.
Still a little trim at the top, still there.
No, the second item or additional item on the agenda is to replace the trim as is pictured there.
Yes, I know that, that's.
So I don't know what that's called, but it will have that peak.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is the house on the corner?
Yes.
It is, yes, sir.
I noticed there's 3 different windows, types of windows. Is on the top floor and the main floor. Is there any, are you planning to make them all uniform, or what is,
You're
the
speaking of
scope?
existing?
Yes.
Oh, yes, no, they'll all be uniform. So the bay window, those windows are original, or? Okay, yeah, they were not done. So those, of course, are not changing, but all of the additional, and there are 2 windows on the back side of the house that also were not replaced as part of the prior owner's renovations. But all of the windows that he replaced with the vinyl, and to Dr. Schrago's point, that flashing or that wide trim at the bottom of the windows, all of those windows will be replaced.
Just for information, that this house got renovated without a certificate of approval.
All right.
It was called, he took it all the way to council, and council stood behind the HPC. So we're undoing what was done without approval. So what's in there now is totally inappropriate.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, sad that the
drove
original
to look
windows
at it.
apparently went away somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, some of
Alright.
them have colonial style grid, some of them have no grid. Yes, I hear you, yes.
There's the window replacements on one side also, haven't there been?
All sides.
Oh, all of them have been replaced.
All of the, yes, all except for those first three, or those three in the bay on the front, and two smaller windows there are two smaller windows at the rear, east side of the home.
You know, if the rear, there's stairs in the rear, are those compliant, do you know?
It's on the list.
Oh, I see, okay.
So,
Because, of course, the rear is absolutely visible from Gray Street, so it's not, very often things, if it's hidden behind things, you might be able to do certain things, but given that it's absolutely, it's on the busier street, you can see that, but I guess we're coming to that. So.
Yeah, of course.
So that's item 3, I think?
The image here, the front railing on the front porch was replaced with metal spindles. So I'm asking, of course, I'm asking to put in turn spindles on the front porch. And then related to that, the rear deck has wood spindles going down the stairs, wood square spindles going down the stairs, but this railing at the landing are again that metal, so I'm requesting to replace those with the wooden square spindles to match what goes down the steps.
okay. Any questions about the spindles?
What was the height of the railing?
They are 30. It's 30 or 32 inch. Actually, it's probably in here. I think it's 32 inches. I don't have it, actually. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
And I think that's within the height for for
code
porch
com-
railings, right? For the historic district.
Compliant height, 32? It is?
Jen says yes.
It is, okay.
Yeah. I think a lot of houses have
36.
higher,
No.
but for the historic, it tends to be a little bit
Okay.
lower.
It's 40 normally, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And the last item on the remedial work or the replacement work, the front door, this was replaced with a style that's not congruent with the house in the period. So again, I put forth some recommendations. You know, if it is within approval of the group, I would like to replace with lights, a lighted door, some sort of window. If I couldn't really discern what an appropriate door for, because the house is not, I don't believe, one concrete style. I think it's I think it's charming personally, but, and will be more charming once we get the windows fixed. But I don't, I don't know what style I should have been looking for. So I did choose several styles with windows in them. They are all true divide, so it's not simulated. They're all true divided lights. If they have divided lights in the window, and of course the door would be the same height. So it's a 8-foot tall door, solid wood.
I think either if that one or that one, either of those two would work.
So the 4 or the 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one with the little
clear,
vertical
full
members
clear.
at the bottom is not.
Can we see the other one?
That one's not quite, that bottom panel.
Yeah.
If it were a solid panel of wood as opposed to the multiple boards, they would be okay, but I think any of those. Are you thinking of painting that, or?
So yes, I didn't put it as part of this COA because you know, I have an agreement with the previous owner to correct this work to a degree, but I do want to eventually return the house to blue. So I have some ideas for the exterior paint. So to answer your question directly, a short term it will be probably painted. I mean, I'm open to suggestions, but ultimately I want to have it be that historic red that the foundation of the house was previously. Because I'm going to put some of that on the trim, or propose to put some of that on the trim and at the bottom, so the door would ultimately be that color, eventually be that color.
So, I mean, you're thinking this one is the of the two that are?
Yeah, like I say, either one of those is, you know, if you're looking for more massive light, you know, this one kind of emulates the windows a little more with the 2/2 format.
Absolutely. And the door does still have its original peaked trim above the door, so that's still there. And the last piece is, this is the area where I would like to put up a 3-foot railing, just a simple black rail. Right now, it is metal fence posts with some, I don't really know where that came from, the sort of barrier that's not, I mean, it's just a mess right now. So I'd like to clean that up.
Thank you.
Where do you want to install the fencing?
So, it's above the retaining wall, yes, that L-shaped, yeah,
Perimeter,
that's correct.
okay.
So there's actually very little clearance when you come off of those steps. There's very little clearance, so I just would feel more comfortable if there was a rail there.
And 3 feet works for you? Okay, good.
All the work that we proposed undo the work that was done last year, I believe is excellent. And I would approve it. As much as I want to move everything forward, the fence is a little sort of modern looking. I don't know if it fits into the historic district. I would like to hear other people's opinions about that. I know it's a safety thing for sure. I know, I've been in that backyard, so I know how it's right there. And how fancy do you want to make a fence around as a safety, but I wanted to hear other people's thoughts about the fence.
Fence, is that what you're proposing?
Yes, there would be no gate, it's just a straight,
That looks like it might be a little higher. The picture's higher than 3 feet. That would be.
Yeah,
I'm not tied to this. I mean, if there are suggestions for preference or another style, I'm not tied to this. It was just, I wanted to hit our deadline to be here today. So.
The guidelines just say simple and unadorned, if I'm remembering.
And the material's fine.
I'm thinking along the same lines of Mr. Shareko. I think maybe something that would be more, rather than just that geometric, simply geometric,
So,
more.
something that has a peak or?
A peak, or even without a peak, maybe the spindles themselves.
Oh,
Mhm.
spindles, okay.
And the upper and lower rails or whatever, but,
I mean, even you see what you just went past,
the wire.
even the wire is simple and quiet. It's got a little bit of detail to it. I'm assuming this is protecting your guest from falling and a little bit somebody climbing.
More so falling, I think, but yes, certainly.
I know the other one's a little simple, but, I mean, if you play the National Trust format, they say, don't make it too cute.
Yeah.
They don't, exactly.
Well, the house is
you
not
know.
really stylized either. so-
Yeah, I mean, it's a little simple, but, and could be more neat. I mean, let's face it, you could go to the architectural salvage place and get some fun old cast iron one.
I did look at some at Bailey Spencer and talk to him about it,
Yeah,
but,
and some of those folks.
what's that?
Shock.
Unfortunately, it's a very small.
Yeah, it's not very
space, so-
long, yeah, it's
Yeah.
very,
There's a place,
yes.
there's a place in Roanoke too that works with a lot of salvage material.
I think the
Black Dog
wire
Salvage.
also would look nice.
Yeah, even that wire, you know, given post close enough so the fall protection is there.
I think the property, yes,
Yeah,
okay.
keep
So
going.
I
It
can
was-
use that as an example, on Washington and, or, yeah,
It's right down from Gray Street, so when it cuts up, which is very high up, it's sort of on this peak, and that's was put up right across from the church as well.
yeah.
Where are you?
It's, right there on the corner, I think. Right there, yeah.
It's one of those in there, so. So if you leave the parking lot of the church, it's sort of
Yeah.
right
There it is.
there. I think is that aesthetically more pleasing than the plain
Yeah, the
metal
wire-
one? I don't know.
The wire is
Yeah.
nice. It'd be nicer if it were a metal post as opposed to the more pedestrian square post. But that fence that's a really nice fence from the standpoint of it's thicker at the bottom, controls animals, your little dog going out, rabbits coming in. You know, that is a nice one, Jerry. So something like that might, you know, it's clearly a modern piece of material, but it's not going to set you back like a piece of cast iron historic fence is.
Yes,
Okay.
and we're certainly not, I mean, we make that suggestion, but we're not insisting that you find cast iron, for sure.
No, absolutely not.
But it just seems that you're doing such great work to restore the house to the way it should look. For the fence, if you just put in a fence that feels appropriate, 1880s, given that it's all right there on the major street there too.
Sure.
I think it would just complement the house better than the very plain one. The issue of the materials of aluminum versus not is not the issue. It's just sort of trying to tie it all together in this historic district.
Okay, I'll, put together I'll take another stab at that.
Can we vote on everything else but the fence? Yeah.
Table that part of the application till the next meeting, you can do that.
One quickie back, porch railings painted. We didn't really talk about those,
Yeah, so, yes,
I think, hearing your comment about the house's paint vocabulary going forward, they could simply be, I'm going to do it white now, and we'll come back later with an entire scheme for the entire house
okay,
that Eve could either approve administratively or, if necessary, come back to us, so that you could get paint on them. You know, just I'm seeing the back picture it looked like they were just bare wood.
it is just, exposed.
And just painted is, what's appropriate in a historic district is that they're painted as opposed to a more suburban, just raw.
Okay, yeah, so I would, I would propose to paint them white for now. And the spindles on the front porch will be that black that is, the trim is in now, to match for the time being. But, so should the floor of the porch also be painted? Because it is that, yes,
It
okay.
probably would be appropriate, yes. And that'll serve you over time a lot better too. The paint will protect it.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know what his thoughts were, but, you know, you oftentimes want to let it cure for a little bit before you
Yeah.
put paint or stain on it, but
Yeah, is it a treated material?
it's treated, but, and I I'm assuming it's been there since, it's been there over 6 months, I guess, June.
And quite
So-
honestly, you have 12 months
Sure, of course.
to implement the approval of your application. So if you wanted to give it time to weather a little bit.
And then not quite, is that something that was born of the violation that I issued?
Oh, that's true.
Violations, so we have to
Timeline's
act
a little bit different.
quicker.
So when did that clock start ticking?
So depending on how the vote goes today, if you approve the remedial work, you'll have until the end of April to get these things done.
So it's been in place for that period of time anyway, so it's aged some,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the only challenge is of course, the material, the windows are a 6 to 8 week lead time, but January, February, we should still be able to do it by the end of April.
We know you're making a valiant effort, and we applaud you.
Well, I mean, I don't need to get, I respect and appreciate the work that you do for the historic district. I mean, I thought the home was charming. Once I started to look a little bit at the violations, I recognized how it could be a little more charming. So I'm anxious to get it fixed.
All right, then shall we vote on 4 items
Was there a motion?
today?
There's a motion, yeah.
And then have a motion to table the fence.
Yeah, I'd move to approve the windows, columns, railings, deck, and door as submitted and as discussed, in terms of colors. Basic white at the get-go, anticipating a future COA for color. And to table the fence upon a further application, either that you can approve administratively, Eve, or if it needs to, come back to HPC.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Or?
For clarity, Emmett, that's numbers 1 through 4, so it includes the spindles and the doors and other
Yeah.
things.
Windows, porch
Turn
railings,
spindles,
decks,
yeah.
Spindles and door, yeah.
Yeah.
And are we requiring that the door be painted right now, or can he, because he had mentioned red, but is that something we're approving today, or
Yeah,
are we just
I'm
gonna wait till he
saying
comes
that
back with the color?
A future application will address the
Okay.
whole scheme,
Make
color
sure
scheme of
colors.
the house, yeah.
Great.
And I can tell you from experience, when we bought a door, they painted it white, though we told them we wanted it red. It took, I don't know how many layers of paint to finally make it not look pink. So do not paint it white if you want to turn it red. Paint it gray if you want to turn it, or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Even black.
even black, will be
Interesting.
covered better.
I may
Uh,
go to Eve with the color that I plan to use and just do it, because I think a red door would be pretty, whether the rest of it was tied in yet or not.
Yeah, that was my concern. I hate to see you painting something more than once, not necessary.
yeah.
Agreed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
agreed.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? All right, you're good to go, and thank you.
Thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
We look forward to seeing the changes.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Is there any other business for today?
I'll ask a question, maybe.
Okay.
What's going on with the old Jones Memorial Library on Rivermont?
Don't have any updates.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, just was curious if the city had heard anything more.
All the hurdles with the city have been cleared, right? It's all in their court?
I don't know if they ever, I think they need a site plan probably for the work that they were proposing. I don't know if they've submitted that yet, so,
Never made a formal application, and there are some hurdles for that site.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they moved past
There's some
HPC.
rumors floating around.
Oh, there are.
What site is this?
Might have to check.
This is the old Jones Memorial Library on Rivermont Avenue that went through lots of hoops.
Off record.
Made it into a hotel, but now it's been sort of just sitting there
Yeah,
again.
I'm keenly aware that my brother owns that. Yeah, yeah, it's Yeah,
He owns the library?
So it's done,
Yes.
changed
Oh,
hands?
okay.
and several of the houses behind in Victoria as well.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's,
Gotcha.
anyway.
If there's no further business, I declare us adjourned, and our next meeting is
Yeah,
the
it's-
last
we-
Monday.